The thing about twin flame and karmic relationships is they can actually appear very similar on the surface. Now, this might sound a bit strange because these are actually very different forms of soul connection. In fact, in some ways, they are completely opposite. Twin flame connection is based on shared, mutual, exchanged soul growth and expansion, meaning that twin flames are intended to catalyze one another to their highest healing, and ultimately, through that healing of themselves energetically, that shift they are making within themselves, that transmutation process that occurs through connecting with a twin flame in this physical lifetime, the transmutation of their inner darkness into light, what we call light working, through that whole process, ultimately being able to self-actualize in a sense, to become the most ideal, highest version, most aligned version of themselves. Now, in contrast to this, karmic connections or karmic relationships are actually created, founded, formed because of shared negative patterns or wounds. So while twin flames are here to ultimately heal one another to the point of being able to, well, I would say reach ultimate expansion, but there is no true point of ultimate expansion. It is a constantly expanding form of connection that is always expanding one another, both counterparts within the connection. Whereas within a karmic connection, the pull you feel to this other person, to your karmic, is actually based on the way in which this person enables, or I guess in a more positive sense, we could say, sheds light on the negative patterns within yourself. So we're going to get into the nuances in this video, the differences, the somewhat subtle differences between twin flame connection and karmic relationships so that you can identify over the course of time, right? Because this most likely won't happen instantaneously or overnight, but will be something that you will be able to piece together over time. But so that you will be able to ultimately determine whether the person you are connecting with at this time is a twin flame or a karmic partner. But before I get into all of that information, let me introduce myself. My name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. So in this video, I am going to be sharing 3 main differences between twin flame connection and karmic relationships. Now, keep in mind, there is no one simple technique or easy way to instantaneously make this distinction. And there's actually a soul reason for this, a spiritual reason for this. The reason it sometimes is so difficult to sort out whether the person you're dealing with is a twin flame or a karmic is actually because through that process of sifting, of determining whether or not someone is your twin flame or whether they are your karmic, there is actually a great deal of soul growth and soul expansion that happens through that process of sometimes what we call confirmation, twin flame confirmation. In fact, that is the very reason that when we come to planet Earth, when we incarnate here, we choose to forget. We choose to have this kind of soul amnesia because these are connections that we have actually pre-planned for ourselves on a soul level. We knew before we came here, before we were born, that in this lifetime, we would connect with these individuals. we would share these forms of connection, and through beginning to consciously realize or identify these connections, we would experience an immense amount of growth. So I'm only saying this to remind you to really go easy on yourself here. If you are someone in a situation who is feeling a bit lost, feeling a bit confused or unsure, know that first of all, that is completely okay. And also, within that uncertainty and confusion you are feeling, there is actually a lot of growth taking place as well. Also, if you do enjoy this kind of spiritual content and information, please be sure to subscribe to this channel here through this beautiful community we are creating on YouTube. We are truly co-creators and soul family here, reconnecting with our soul tribe through this space here on YouTube. So thank you to each and every one of you who are subscribed here, who are part of my soul tribe, and who are quite literally co-creating all of this knowledge, all of this information here along with me. So what is the first sign, the first way to tell the difference between a twin flame and karmic relationship? Well, I like to refer to this as external signs versus internal knowing. Now, this is one of the most challenging aspects of determining the difference between these connections. And the reason for this is they both come along with a lot of identifiable, physical, external sorts of signs and synchronicities, which is the main reason that so many of us get these two connections a bit confused at times. With both a twin flame and a karmic connection, there can be a very intense magnetism, a feeling of pull that we can feel spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and of course physically as well to this other person. Now, this pull happens in both forms of connection for two reasons. The first reason this happens is, like I said earlier, simply because we are meant to feel this pull. Very often when we feel this soul draw, this soul pull to another person, within our physical lifetime, there is some reason we are supposed to connect with this person. This person, in a sense, holds a piece to our puzzle of the kind of soul evolution we are supposed to experience in this life. And yes, this includes karmic connections. I sometimes feel like we give karmic relationships a bad rep because we will say things about them like, you know, this person brought out all of my negative patterns or wounds. I was really toxic with this person, or we were really toxic together. But the true purpose of karmic connection is actually to teach you. It is to shed light on these negative patterns and wounds within yourself in order to actually assist you in identifying them and healing them. Now, getting back to this external signs versus internal knowing, because both forms of connection will come along with signs, sometimes even number signs and synchronicities, and again, these feelings of magnetism, feelings of pull. When you are trying to determine which form of connection you are dealing with, it can be important at times to set aside these external signs for a second and to begin asking yourself, okay, regardless of the signs I am feeling with this person physically, the way I am feeling about them spiritually and emotionally, how does this connection feel within myself, within my own energy field? Now, I know this sounds a bit complex, so I am going to explain this. Also, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this does take time. This isn't a kind of knowing you are going to come into instantaneously, and that is perfectly okay. So give yourself time and space to sit with these things. But one of the best ways to really get to that space of internal knowing is through meditation, because when we are very fixated on the external, even when it comes to these external spiritual signs within our love connections, it can be really easy to actually get disconnected from how our own intuition or inner voice is speaking about this person or about this situation. So through meditation, we can really begin to peel back those layers of what I call chaos consciousness. So through meditation, we can really begin to peel back all of those layers of what I refer to as chaos consciousness. All of those chaotic, confusing, external thoughts, ideas, programs we pick up from other people and from society generally, to peel back all of that and get back to our core, to the roots of who we really are beneath all of that. Now, the reason this is so key, specifically when it comes to determining the difference between these connections, is because your twin flame connection is the only one that is within you at your deepest point, your deepest level and layer of your being. This gets into some of those things that are just difficult to find the words for when it comes to twin flame connection, but this is your most ancient and deeply held soul connection. I often refer to this as the Marianas Trench of your soul, because the Marianas Trench is the deepest point in the ocean, and this is your deepest form of connection. So this means that while you can sense energetically all forms of connection in your life, including karmic relationships, when you are meditating, when you are fully alone with yourself, do you feel this other person, this connection there with you? I mean, at that core point in your soul, in your being, or do they feel kind of on the surface or external? And again, I know this is very abstract and can take some time to really sort out, but very often when it comes to twin flame connection specifically, when you are in those moments of very deep peace, very deep meditation, you can feel this sense of home within yourself, and there in that home space, so to speak, that feeling of home, that feeling of total reconnection with your inner self, the only other soul you will be able to feel there with you is your twin flame connection. And these other forms of connection will feel as though they're simply kind of fading to the background. So again, this really does take time. I actually recommend taking 21 days to meditate for 15 or 20 minutes first thing in the morning. Don't even fixate on either of these connections necessarily, but simply allow your mind to fully relax. Allow yourself to slip into that very deep state of consciousness. And in that state where your conscious mind is fully relaxed and you are deeply at peace within yourself, begin to sense into that. Begin to ask yourself these questions. Who do I feel there with me? Or who do I feel kind of fading to the background? And that might help to bring you some clarity about this question. Now, for best results with this practice, I have also created a really powerful twin flame subliminal meditation. This is a 7-chakra clearing subliminal. Now, subliminals are so powerful because unlike traditional spoken affirmations, the affirmations embedded within a subliminal track are actually hidden, masked within other frequencies and meditation sounds, so your conscious mind can't actually hear them while you are listening. And this is actually why they are so incredibly effective, because what your conscious mind can't hear, it can't reject. And this means that your subconscious mind, which is directly reflected in your energy field, is able to much more easily pick up and be completely reprogrammed by these subliminal affirmations. So this twin flame 7 chakra clearing not only contains about 100 subliminal affirmations to clear out any negative thoughts or feelings that are blocking your connection, but it actually also contains 7 binaural beat frequencies to resonate with and retune each of the 7 main energy centers in your energy body. So the effect of this is really allowing this kind of remagnetization of the energy between yourself and your twin flame, also allowing you to really find or stabilize that sense of inner knowing, that feeling of clarity within yourself when it comes to these types of questions, such as sorting through what kind of connection you are dealing with currently. So the link to this subliminal is in the pinned comment and description box under this video. You can try it out completely free for 7 days by creating a free trial account on my website. And again, all of that information is linked below. So what is the second way to tell the difference between a twin flame and a karmic relationship? This is what I call puzzle pieces versus mirrors. If we had to create a visually showing the difference between these two forms of connection, it would be to say that karmic relationships are like puzzle pieces, whereas twin flames are like mirrors. So let me explain. Karmic relationships are puzzle pieces because you do feel a lot of connection to this person, just like two puzzle pieces that seem to perfectly fit together. Except the key here is, just like those puzzle pieces have these broken, uneven edges that allow them to fit together, it is your unhealed negative patterns and wounds that allow you and your karmic to feel this kind of intense pull and magnetism. Now, if you were to, or when you choose to, heal these negative patterns or wounds within yourself, just like if you were to make one of those puzzle piece edges perfectly straight instead of having those broken, jagged edges, it would no longer fit together with the other. And in the same way, when you heal your negative patterns within a karmic relationship, that feeling of pull, that feeling of magnetism, and even the signs that went along with that simply seem to fade away or kind of dissolve over time. This person will fade naturally out of your energy field, out of your consciousness, and you will simply kind of either lose attraction with one another or drift apart in some way. The connection won't be able to withstand this healing process because that wasn't its design, its purpose. The purpose of a karmic connection is to reveal these wounds to you, to get you to bring consciousness to them, to heal them. But then once you heal these wounds or patterns, you no longer will feel that same connection with this person because, again, the connection itself was based upon the shared mutual wounding and patterns. So as a total contrast to this, your twin flame will not necessarily fit together with your negative patterns or wounds. They will actually reflect them. So twin flames are perfect energetic mirrors. This means that whenever there is some kind of unhealed pattern within you, your twin flame will perfectly mirror that back to you. Now, the key thing here with twin flame connection is they not only mirror your wounding, but they also mirror your healing. So when you choose to, as a twin flame, heal that pattern, that negative dynamic within yourself, you will see the positive shift, not only within your twin flame counterpart, but also within your connection over time. And ultimately, this will actually bring you closer. And in fact, if you are in a period of separation, this mutual healing that takes place leads to also this mutual growth and increased feeling of connectedness with one another. So again, to really address these wounds and negative patterns at the roots within your twin flame connection, I highly recommend checking out my 7-chakra twin flame clearing subliminal in the pinned comment and description box under this video. So the second way to tell the difference between these two connections is to examine your patterns, negative patterns within yourself, and to ask yourself, is this other person fitting together or enabling these patterns, or are they simply reflecting the same pattern back to me? And if that seems like a bit of a difficult or confusing question, this third point is actually going to help you answer this in practicality in your actual day-to-day life through action. So what I mean by this is when you actually begin to take the actions of addressing and healing your own negative wounds and patterns within yourself, you can then ask yourself, what happens to this connection or to my feelings about this person or connection as the healing process continues? Now, of all of these 3 signs or ways to tell the difference between these connections, this will take the longest to really see the effect from, because sometimes it can take weeks or months or years to really see how your own healing influences the connections around you, or specifically in this case, whether it leads to increased unity with this person of mind, body, and soul, or whether it leads to increased distance between yourself and this person, meaning that your connection in some sense must have been karmic, must have been based on some kind of mutual wounding that was holding you together. And without those wounds, without those negative patterns, there was nothing to hold you together. Alternatively, of course, if you find that your own healing is reflected in the other and ultimately leads to more connectedness, more unity over the course of time between the two of you, then that is a very strong indicator that you are dealing with a twin flame connection. So I really hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it helped to bring you some clarity when it comes to determining the differences between your love connections. If you do have any thoughts or comments about this podcast, or if anything resonated with you personally, please be sure to leave me a comment under this video. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, to join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day, and I will talk to you again in the next podcast.